Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to another live stream here Saturday night. I was just watching some college football. No, it's not my birthday. People do this every week. My birthday's not even for another week and a half or something. This is just every week they do this. Thoughts on Pam Bondi getting fired? Somebody's got to take the fall for this Epstein stuff, am I right? Mizzou game is fire. Yeah, I saw that. It's a close game there. South Carolina putting up a fight. Hoosiers laying the hammer. Yeah, it was a good matchup for them against the Illini. It's an impressive win. I don't think Illinois is good. I haven't thought I thought they were a fraud team at the beginning of the season. I think they're going to lose to USC next week, and then they're going to lose to Ohio State. They're going to be unranked. They're going to have to be unranked. No, she actually didn't get fired. Do you think Texas covers now? Well, I don't have an exact update. I know were they up 38 to nothing like at half? I mean, yeah, they're probably going to cover. That spread was like 40 and a half, and then it got bet down. They're going to cover, I would imagine. Is shooting to distract from the Charlie Kirk fallout? No, it's not going to distract at all. I mean, I don't know anything about that New Hampshire shooting, but I highly doubt it'll distract it. Thoughts on Pam Bondi's hate speech comments? She always says the wrong thing. That's the problem with Pam Bondi. It's like there's something that happens, and then there's such an obvious statement that you should make, and then she talks about like anti-Semitism in relation to the Charlie Kirk stuff. It's just the wrong statement. It's the absolute wrong statement. I know that came out a few days ago. People were talking about that. Did you watch the OU Auburn game? I saw parts of it. I don't think OU is good enough offensively. I don't think they have enough offensive weapons to really do anything in the SEC. That's what I kind of took away from that game. The entire offense is Mateer. Then they got like 10 sacks. I don't think Auburn's any good either. I mean, Oklahoma's good. They've got a good defense, but they don't have the skill position players to be like a high-end SEC team is what I think. But we'll see. New Hampshire shooter apparently said free Palestine. It doesn't surprise me. Wow, they're expecting 100K plus for Charlie's memorial tomorrow. Is that inside and outside? I don't think they can fit 100K inside. I mean, with floor seating, they could probably get above 70K. 100K like outside plus inside is what I would imagine. We got screwed on the H-1B visa. Trump caved after 12 hours. Yeah, I don't know if it's just an administration problem in terms of communication or if they actually changed the policy. I don't know. That might just be like how do you report or how do you announce the wrong thing? How does Howard Lutnick announce the wrong thing? I mean, it still is going to stymie some of it, but it is frustrating. What do you think of the Florida Gators Stadium, the Swamp? They're getting a big renovation to it soon. I don't know when. Within the next few years, there's going to be renovating it. I mean, it's an old style seating arrangement. It's good home field advantage for Florida. Florida's not very good this year again. They haven't been good for a while. Florida. H-1B has to go through Congress. Yeah, I think it does. Because it's a big change in terms of like the immigration stuff. Because I mean, it is a large difference from what, even if it is not annual, because people are angry now. It's not annual. They said it was annual, but apparently it's not. I mean, they told us it was yesterday. Now they release a statement saying no, it's a one-time 100K fee by the employer. Florida scored a touchdown. That's good. I have them covering that in that game, so that'd be good if they came back. Michigan defense destroyed Nebraska. Yeah, I'll give you credit for that. No, Nebraska got manhandled on both sides of the line. Absolutely manhandled. That's a Nebraska team. I was surprised, honestly, at the disparity. Nebraska should not have been in that game. There's no way. Did Trump really cave on the H-1B stuff? No, it's just the administration is really bad communication. I mean, there's really no other way to say it. They say one thing and then the next day it turns out not to be true. It's like, what are we doing here? I mean, what's happening? Now you can say, well, it's because he caved or Ludnick said something wrong. I don't know. But it's always something. But the people thought it was annual, so every year it cost 100K to keep a H-1B worker. You know, the companies had to pay 100K every year, but it's just a one-time payment, I think is what it is now. You're still surprised Clemson lost? Yeah, that's their season's done. 1-3. Dabo Sweeney is really in denial. If you listen to him, he's gone on several rants. Does not look good for Clemson. Illinois getting absolutely fired, getting absolutely destroyed. Indiana beating Illinois 49-10, and it doesn't surprise me. You know, I called Illinois a fraud at the beginning of the season. They're not very good. They're just not good. But that's a good Indiana team. I think this year's Indiana team is more explosive than last year's. They've got better receivers. I think Mendoza's better as well than Rourke. So, but Indiana's got a lot tougher of a schedule this year. Last year they were a fraudulent team because of their schedule. This year they have to face Penn State, I think also Oregon. Bless this country, America. Thank you for the donation. IU was -6.5. Yeah, well, even at one point, IU was like -4.5. I mean, it's just crazy. People bet it up because they knew that Illinois was a fraudulent team. Thoughts on Trump wanting to go back to Afghanistan? What happened to no forever wars? What do you mean go back to Afghanistan militarily? I never read anything about him wanting to go back to Afghanistan. Who you got winning the Big Ten? Well, it's going to be one of Ohio State, Penn State, or Oregon. It's hard to say. I think the schedule alignment sets up the best for Ohio State. Reclaim airbase. Yeah, I mean, that's not a war. Once Bagram airbase. Yeah, he's mentioned that a lot. But I thought there was some military action. I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. He's mentioned that for like over 2 years now. Unless you start blocking morons in your comments, you're not going to get bigger. I mean, you can't block people on the internet unless there's nobody doing anything bad in this chat. Can I send you 2 pics of me and the girl you're crushing on the Discord? Answer if you think she's out of my league or not. I mean, dude, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, how old are you, man? Like, I've watched a lot of college games. Yeah, sure. Rayola better than Arch. Dude, Rayola has limited pocket presence. I mean, Michigan has a good defensive line, I guess, but some of those sacks, the guys got to throw the ball away. A lot of these college quarterbacks have no pocket awareness. I see so many of them just holding on to the ball. They'll run out of bounds. They'll be 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage and just run out of bounds. Arkansas, dude, that was a brutal loss by Arkansas. Well, they had like they have 2nd and 2 from like the 10. They fumbled the ball. It's brutal. Do you think you'd have a better shot with Levitt or, or Bondi? I mean, what kind of question is that? Probably Bondi, honestly. I'm not interested. No, I don't think LSU is a serious team. LSU is a. Remember when LSU beat Clemson? Remember that? Think about that. That's the thing, man. How about all these pundits and these people anointing LSU? And the same thing is happening with FSU. I think FSU probably is going to lose to Virginia next week. I'll just say it right now because I can see it already. And they anoint these teams for like these week 1 fluke wins, but even LSU obviously beating Clemson. Clemson's 1-3. They're not a good football team. LSU does not have that good of an offense. People have to understand this. The SEC is just a complete mosh pit, anyways. But LSU is going to be losing games. I can tell you that. And then everyone just immediately anointed them as like this great team because they beat Clemson. Oh, maybe we should calm down and see how good Clemson is. I tried to tell people that. You think liberals will protest Charlie's funeral? I saw a little bit of that. I saw there was some rumors. I don't know. Maybe there'll be a few crazy people out protesting. I don't think the protests will be too big, and it's going to be overshadowed anyways by the speeches. I'm not sure because it's going to be well, the way Arizona does their time changes. I think it is 3 hours behind Eastern. So I'm guessing the funeral will probably start 4 o'clock my time if I had to say. Check rapid response 47. Taliban won't give it back without a fight, and Trump is already making threats. Also consider all the weapons they have now. Yeah, I mean, it's like the last thing I want to do is sit here and try and discuss another fucking Middle Eastern war. I mean, hopefully Trump doesn't. I don't know the strategic importance people are saying because of China. The Indians virtually tied with the Tigers now. Have you seen a collapse like the Detroit Tigers? I know, it's insane. The Tigers weren't very good. They got luck. They had a really good first half. But that's not a good offensive team. You look at the Tigers. They're really not. But that's kind of how MLB is now. There's a lot of bad offense. The Guardians are like the worst offense in baseball. They're going to be in first place. They're like the 3rd worst offense in baseball. What is your honest thoughts on white women who race mix? Should we society start shaming them? You have to understand what you're going through is internet rage. You have to realize, look at the statistics. White women out of any race or any quadrant, meaning white women, black women, white men, black men, Hispanic, any quadrant, white women are the least likely to race mix. So when they say that to white men, we steal all your girls, it's a complete lie. They're the least likely out of any quadrant. So it's actually false. I mean, you can shame them, I guess, but you cannot like it. But I'm telling you, it's a bullshit internet thing that they say, and it's not true. They say they steal our women. White women are the least likely to race mix out of any quadrant. And by quadrant, I mean black men, white women, black women, Hispanic men. So you have to understand that. H-1B fees is a great first step. Outsourcing fees is next. Yeah, they're talking about like remote putting them in Canada. There's gonna have to be there's a lot of fees on foreign employee. Oh, remote workers from Canada. Fuck out of here with this, man. The H-1B program is just terrible for Americans, and everybody knows it. I mean, even some liberals got to admit that it's bad, and what Trump is doing is good. And that's why they're really not attacking it, I don't think. It's like, yeah, there's trade-offs. Oh my God, of course there's trade-offs. The country has to be American. I don't know what to tell you. We need American people to do American jobs. It has to happen for us to have a country. We're not going to outsource to temporary workers anymore. Well, I guess we still are, but Trump is desperate to drop the 101st Airborne into Ottawa, Canada, or Bagram, LOL. He's talked about that airbase like 100 times, I feel like. Miami's home crowds have been good this year. Yeah, Miami can get it going. I mean, they play in an NFL stadium, but and normally their crowds are really dead if it's not a big game. But if it's a big game, they can get a good home atmosphere in Miami. How come Candace is not going to the funeral? And think about that. The Candace Owens stuff that's turned ugly really quickly with Candace Owens and the questioning. Like it's this. Oh, it's Israel, of course, and I don't see the where did the bullet exit? That whole thing's gotten really ugly, and all the views she's getting and stuff, and people are like, it's just a grift off of the killing. I think it's ugly, man. It's very ugly. I see all these people trying to talk about these conspiracies and stuff, and I mean, the problem is, it's like we already know the script. You're just going to blame Israel for everything. It's hard to really trust you anymore. If you know these people, you know they're just going to blame Israel for everything. Didn't Miami have a? They had the Orange Bowl, but that was in like the 80s or the 90s. Yeah, they knocked it down, and they never built a new. You know, there's no area within their campus to build an actual stadium. I don't think their stadium is like 30 minutes from their campus. It's brutal. Fuente's been crashing out on his show about how retarded the Israel conspiracy. Well, that's really ironic. Who do you got, USC or Michigan State? I think USC wins and covers. Candace is right. We should be questioning this, dude. Even saying that sounds like the whole questioning shit is just that in and of itself. A lot of the times, and I understand like, oh, the government's always wrong, but a lot of it is just evidence based and motive based and context, and there's just no real fundamental reason, outside of hearsay for Israel to be the ones to kill, and especially do it as sloppily as they did it. With the supposed patsy. USC covering the 18 and a half. I think they win by 21. I had them winning by 21. But that was when the spread was 15 and a half. I had them covering. But people have bet on it, so they bet USC up. I think USC is significantly more talented than MSU. What's that, 11 o'clock game? It's a brutal time slot for Spartan fans. Spartan fans have gotten screwed with this. I mean, their time slots have been terrible because they're not a premier team anymore. Michigan State, they get thrown at 11 o'clock Eastern. Their fans have got to be pissed off. USC's been good this year, and I don't. Michigan State, they're a turnover machine. Childs is. Why is Netanyahu not going to the Charlie Kirk? I mean, there's not foreign people going, and it would be a terrible. I mean, think about Netanyahu. Think about that grift if he went to something like that. If there aren't consistent Republican presidents, it would seem the white minority is inevitable. Yeah, I think it is anyways. Isn't 43% of Gen Z births Caucasian? So it's already under. And that's with Trump. Now you can say, well, if we string like 7 administrations together, then maybe. But I'm actually not even sure if that. These administrations, whether it's Trump or whoever, they have to keep a lot of these. They have to keep the economy running. If you have a low birth rate, that's not going to keep the economy running. So a lot of it is prioritizing the economy with the immigration. As Gen Z, you legit believe Tyler sent those texts? Well, this is my question to you. You don't think the FBI can conjure up some Gen Z language if they're going to fake texts? Really? They're going to have a boomer say, "Oh yeah, you make them. You're for sure you're like 70 years old. Go make this text and try and make it sound like a 19-year-old." Really? I just think that's ridiculous. The FBI, they're faking it, and they're going to have some boomer pretend he's a 19-year-old or a 21-year-old, whatever, 22-year-old. People not blaming Israel for everything pro-Israel. Well, it's just like the controlled demolition and one World Trade Center and two World Trade Center. I got a lot of that. Do you gamble on football? No, I don't. I don't gamble. I'd like to see my picks do well, but I don't get like when I make the predictions. I don't gamble. I don't need to. I gamble I guess on crypto. There's no bigger conspiracy nut than me, and I've read 49 books on the JFK RFK murders, but Charlie's killing is pretty clear cut. The one young guy did it, but the deep state benefits, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, and we'll see with more information and things like that. But I see some of these theories, and a lot of it is just, these people, you get praised for these theories, no matter how ridiculous the theories sound. That's another thing. Like Candace Owens' show had 8 million views. That's a live stream. A live stream with 8 million views is basically unheard of. So there's an incentive, and there is like acceptance to spreading theories like this. People want to be in the club. They want to say, "I'm smarter than you because I know what happened." That's a lot. It's very appealing to be part of these theories. What, you actually don't believe in controlled demolition theory backed by numerous building architect and nine? Dude, do you have eyes? You should actually go watch my video. It's very important. You realize the South Tower came down at an angle think about this. If a building gets hit and there's a hole in it, and the top of the building comes down at an angle, that would signal that the building caved in at the weak point, the angle. Why? So where do they plant the explosives? So they crashed a plane into a building, but then planted explosives as well. Why'd they crash the plane into the building? Why didn't they just bring the building down and then blame Al Qaeda? Make more Twin Towers videos? 8 million concurrent viewers is crazy. Well, she didn't have 8 million concurrent viewers. She had like 300K, but like the total live stream acquired or accrued 8 million, accumulated 8 million. Well, the other thing is explain Building 7, the dancing Israelis. But this is the thing with Building 7. And I was going to do a video on Building 7. Like, okay, so the idea is Buildings 1 and Buildings 2. I guess if we go by your idea, those were controlled. But let's say Buildings 1, I'm able to convince you Buildings 1 and Buildings 2 were not controlled. Why would they then say, we're just going to do a controlled demolition of Building 7? Building 7 was not all that important. It was actually outside of the Twin Towers complex. And why would they collapse the building 5.5 hours after? And why, if they wanted maximum damage, would they wait for everyone to evacuate Building 7? And when Building 7 collapsed, not a single person perished. Wouldn't they be going for maximum? Why would they wait 5 hours for everyone to clear the area and then collapse it? Building 7 its foundation was built on an electronic station. It's a very peculiar build. Go look up its foundation and the way it was built and the structural design of it. It's a very strange building. You are the only hope to save Illinois. Illinois is done. I said Illinois wasn't good this year. How worried about you? How worried are you about NASDAQ 420? I'm not worried at all. Dig my style. I appreciate the donation. Thank you. Sounding like a Zionist chill. Let me redeem myself. Israel killed Charlie Kirk. Let me redeem myself. Like, this is how stupid this is. I mean, do you actually believe the U.S. government has the American people's best interests in mind and you dodged the dancing Israeli questions? Oh my god, I only have a video on the dancing Israelis that has 500,000 views. No, I dodged it. You're right. Dude, obviously there were countries that knew prior that there was going to be a event happening that day. Thoughts on the New Hampshire shooting? I don't know. I haven't seen it. Have you heard about Larry Silverstein? Kind of hard to ignore Israeli involvement. No, tell me more. If mass deportations are implemented with multiple Republican presidents, the white minority progression can be reversed, though. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look into it, honestly. The immigration numbers, but the thing is it depends how many illegals are even in the country right now. Because you're not even getting to remigration. You're just getting the illegals out. The illegals, I don't even think are counting in terms of a lot of these population statistics, like demographic statistics. Do illegals count in that? Because the deportations, they're all illegals that we're deporting. And if they say there's like 15 million illegals, maybe Trump will get, what, 30% of that out in 4 years? Like, best case? Probably only 20%. So Israel knew 9/11 was going to happen the day and didn't warn you, or didn't warn us. You expect us to believe Israel didn't plant those bombs or hijack those planes? Yeah, no, they didn't. They didn't do either of those things. I mean, but also Saudi Arabia had knowledge as well. So are you again? I mean, there's a few. There's a there. You look at Saudi Arabia's involvement. You look at Israel's involvement. There's a Middle Eastern involvement. I'm not denying that. But planting bombs inside of a building that was already going to be hit by planes, what's the point of that? And where would the bombs be placed exactly? Go watch the South Towers collapse. See the walls cave in. That's not induced by a demolition, it's induced by a loss of structural integrity. When the South Tower, the top of the South Tower comes down at a 35-degree angle, that's not the building all, because if you're talking about a building demolition, the building comes down in one piece, the exact same. There's not going to be a angle. The South Tower, when you look at the impact zone, falls at an angle. So this is the top, this is the bottom. The top falls like this off of it, like a top hat. So if it's falling like a top hat, that would indicate there was a structural failure at the within the hole that the airplane created. There was a weakened, obviously it was weakened significantly. So that's really what happened if you look at the video. Look up Operation Northwoods. If they're willing to kill Americans in the 60s, why wouldn't they in 2001? False flags are common. Yeah, but so comparing the two, I understand that they can kill people and they can utilize that for political gain. But does that really equate them doing it? When you could just call anything a conspiracy. Well, they did it with Operation Northwood, so everything is the U.S. government. You have to look at things based on the evidence. You hate 9/11 conspiracy theories with a passion? Well, I mean, there's certain evidence for sure, but a lot of this is just not well researched by people, I feel like. explain molten metal and the collapse at free fall speed. It didn't collapse at free fall speed. It collapsed a second slower. So that's just wrong. But it's like, listen, if you want the facts or do you want to live in a fantasy, you know more than me. You know more. You're in the club. I'm not. See, people, they want to believe something and they want to be like, I'm smarter than you because you believe the government and I don't. But like, you have to do you do research into it. Why do you trust the CIA all of a sudden glowing? Dude, I've done plenty of research. It's not even through the CIA. It's just use your eyes. Go look at the South Tower collapse. Do you think the South Tower came down vertically the exact same, like a controlled demolition where they cut off all the supports and the building comes down? You need to go watch the collapse of the building. Why do you trust George Bush so much? Well, I trust. Go watch the South Tower collapse, and then prove it was somehow controlled. It's not possible. Steel beams can't melt jet fuel. Yeah, they bend jet fuel and they weaken jet fuel. It doesn't have to melt it. But you're right. No, they cannot burn high enough to completely melt steel beams. It's not hot enough. That's exactly what I said, D Money. That's exactly what I said. You can literally see the plane flying into the building in the video. Well, they're holograms. You know the hologram theory? I'm not that one is that's a troll. That's a troll theory. Now, you're wrong. You cannot see it. Do you want me to explain it to you? So you're saying you can see the bombs going off when the building collapsed. That's air trying to escape the lower levels. See, the building is it's collapsing onto itself. So all the floors are pancaking onto each other. So the air within the lower floors, the air has to go somewhere. So the air shoots out. You know, there were actually several instances of that happening where there was like a suction within the building before the building collapsed. It's air trying to be forced out. Well, I think it's air getting superheated and trying to be forced out. But when the building collapsed, the reason you saw, by the way, all of that, you know, when you see at the bottom, like in the bottom floors, when you see the windows shatter and the puff of smoke come out, if it was a demolition, that would have happened before the demolition, not during it. So the CIA got Al Qaeda to fly 3 planes into buildings so that Jews couldn't implode Building 7. Jews are the most persecuted people for the past 2,500 years, but go ahead. Well, yeah, I think there was knowledge of countries for sure, but yeah, I mean, I don't. But Building 7, people think it's this sacred thing. Why did they collapse Building 7 5 hours after and it was fully evacuated? And what, like, the significance of Building 7? Yes, they stored some documents in there and stuff, but why would they risk this entire conspiracy on Building fucking 7, which wasn't even really part of the complex anyways? Notice how he's dodging Pentagon and United Airlines 93. I mean, what about it? You think they threw a missile through the air to hit the Pentagon and killed a grand total of one person? The Pentagon plane crash is really irrelevant. I mean, I don't want to say that and sound like distasteful, but in the grand scheme of 9/11, it's the Twin Towers collapsing. That's obviously the 4 planes, but in terms of the impact, that's what people remember. Why would they even target the Pentagon? The Pentagon is a horizontal building. You're gonna if you target the Pentagon with a missile, you're gonna do very little damage. Anyways, people forget that Silverstein was the developer for World Trade Center 7 in the late 80s. It's understandable that he would be interested to lease the entire complex. Yeah, well, the Silverstein thing, I mean, there are some discrepancies with him and not being present. What did he say? It was an orthodontist appointment. But I'll say this, they say, well, it was insurance money. Yeah, but all of that money went back to rebuilding the complex. It's not like he got like fucking $5 billion for himself because he bought the World Trade Center complex 4 months before the collapse. The insurance money was used to rebuild the complex. Where else would the money come from? I feel like people think he just got like an extra $5 billion because the Twin Towers collapsed. How do you account for the missing planes and dead passengers and phone calls from passengers that were hijacked? What missing planes are you talking about? Phone calls from passengers that were hijacked. Yeah, that is weird. I'm not gonna lie, especially for 2001 to be able to call. I mean, they have those numbers built into the fucking seats or whatever, but I'll give you that. That is strange that they were able to call. I mean, because 2001, you would think they wouldn't have the connection to be able to do that. Why would they do this? They needed an excuse to go to war for oil money, and the CIA backed the attacks with Israel. But the thing is, dude, you can say, well, that's the result of it, but a lot of these theories, it's just not true, man. It's just not true, and people want it to be true, and that's fine. But the reason I said why would they do this? Why would they collapse Building 7? You don't need Building 7 to collapse to go to war for Israel or go to war for oil. It was all about the Twin Towers. Building 7 was extremely small. It was inconsequential. Ask any American about Building 7. 95% of them don't know it existed. So actually, it's the exact opposite. Why would they do this? Why would they collapse Building 7? What is an impact? It makes no sense. There were 0 deaths. Whether Building 7 collapsed or not, it has 0 impact on whether or not we go to war for Israel. Building 7 got hit by the. Now, I think Building 7 just got hit by debris. I thought it got hit by the antenna, but no, the antenna fell in a different area. How much did they give you? You were anti-Israel. Well, when you get a bill, the thing is I got a payment plan from Tel Aviv. It's actually 150,000 per month, and it's important that we control the narrative. That's the goal. Like, this shit is so stupid when people say this. It makes me think even more. Like, what do you think of the now Trump deleted tweet about Bondi? Yeah, I think she's the fall, I guess, woman in this case. There's gonna have to be a fall person. This Epstein shit is so bad for Trump, and so it'll be a Bondi. Bondi's done a very bad job. She says the wrong thing at every turn. First, you dodged the Trump ordering assassination theories, and now you're shilling for Israel. Well, if you get $150,000, what do you want me to do? I mean, this is. But it's like, this is how retarded this is, like with these people. In 2001, there were phone on planes. They were attached to the back of the headrest. Yeah, I've seen the Flight 93 movie, and that's how they were depicted. They're trolling you about Israel. No, they're not. These people are serious. Anytime you say something is not Israel, they say you're paid by Israel. That's how the internet works right now. Dodging theories. I don't know. They want me to say that Israel. They want me to say I'm just asking questions. Look, with the Charlie Kirk stuff, I do think it's distasteful. I think, listen, the Candace Owens is grifting off of it. Let's call it what it is. She has no clue. You're a legend, bro. Good stuff. Thanks. How come you glaze Israel so hard? I mean, I haven't glazed Israel. I'm just, listen, you research this stuff. You're asking me about 9/11. I've made about like 300 videos about 9/11. You want me to be honest about Building 7? You want me to, like this stuff? You're only hearing, like, you got on this hive mind and this theories. I mean, it's just, you need to be challenged in your thought, I think. Do you trust Netanyahu's word? If so, you're a fool. I mean, it's inconsequential. I'm talking about an event which you can research. I didn't reference Netanyahu once at all. Tell the 9/11 troopers to F off. DG, you covered this very well in your 9/11 documentaries. I appreciate the $100 donation. Thank you for that. But it's like, the thing is dude, it's like you research the stuff and then you come to a conclusion. Like, that's literally what's happened with me. And it's crazy to see people say, oh, you're paid by Israel. Like, to me, it makes the arguments even less convincing. Like, that's your argument. The thing is I'll research it and then I'll come to a conclusion and I'll look at all the different angles of it. It's distasteful. We don't care. We know Trump has had a hand in this, and by trying to dismiss and dodge our questions, I'm not dodging it. I'm telling you, you're very likely wrong. So I'm not dodging it. I think you're wrong. There's the answer. The anti-Israel people are like far leftists. You can only believe what they believe, or they'll freak the fuck out. I think that's how it is with a lot of politics, but it is insane in terms of, like, look, I'll look at it, I'll come to an opinion. Like, these people, they think that, I mean, you just got to look at the video, man. Seriously, you need to look at the footage. Just look at the footage. Even the plane footage of the Pentagon crash. Palantir's file on me. Handsome but low threat. Well, I maybe I'll be a no threat. I'll be a no threat after tonight, right? Why did Israel not inform the U.S. specifically about 9/11? Well, just like Saudi Arabia, they obviously significantly, it was advantageous that the United States had a presence in their region. They knew the United States was gonna help them. As for Building 7, two huge 110-story skyscrapers collapsed nearby, and they think it didn't sustain any damage, that it was explosives. Right, and that's the other thing. It's like, when have we ever had in history, and I guess maybe this is part of the conspiracy, but when have we ever had in history two 110-story buildings be hit by planes and then collapse? It's just, there's no way to predict what's going to happen around it. But it's like, Building 7 in and of itself, it's irrelevant. Like, it's used by the conspiracy theorists, but in terms of, and that's the other thing, and the person donated to me trying to prove the point, but I was saying, why does it matter? Why does them collapsing Building 7? I guess you could say, well, it had documents in it or something. But why would they collapse Building 7 5.5 hours after the entire area has been vacated? If you ask an American about 9/11, they're not going to know Building 7 existed. We didn't go to war for fucking Israel because of Building 7. That's ridiculous. If Building 7 stayed standing, just like the Deutsche Bank, and got, demolished because it sustained damage like 3 years later, nobody would be talking about Building 7. You didn't research anything. You took what the government said and regurgitated it into your own research, discussing how you betrayed your values. Come on. Honey. Honey, I've disappointed you. But it's like, this is the thing. This is what we're dealing with. I think Candace Owens has another theory, maybe, for you to look at. Is Israel a net benefit for Americans or a net negative? It's a negative. Dude is trolling. They're not trolling. That's the thing. They're not trolling. You go down this rabbit hole. You American clowns all mad because a Canadian knows more about what your lying government has done to its own people than y'all. Well, I think your guys are due another round of H-1Bs, so have fun. Dude, this is just going to derail it. We've had this happen before with donators, and then all the responses are just to the donators. Even Fuentes said Israel did not kill Charlie Kirk, and he's getting dragged through the mud. Have you seen his supporters and what they've said about him? Dude, I see it under every one of his clips now. They say he's a shill. I mean, this is serious stuff with these people. Stop super chatting me. My deal is 150K up front, and then I get 50%. They get 50% of my super chat revenue, so you're funding them. Yeah, it is true. 50% of my super chat revenue, it goes actually directly to Netanyahu. It's an exotic deal I have with YouTube and Netanyahu. BB has been very kind to me. What's up, DG? There's a 9/11 debate in your chat. Well, a guy donated me and asking some questions, and I wonder if he'll actually watch the South Tower collapsing and understand what it is. But it was from donations. I mean, you could go look at my video, and people called me a shill there. Vlog from the Wailing Wall. The Israel Ark. The Israel Ark. The Wailing Wall. The makeout sesh will be legendary. I've been trolling. I'm trolling. People think it's serious. Any update on Alberta secession? I don't know any updates. I think they're having a vote next year. Maybe this fall though. I'd have to look into it. They're gonna have a vote at some point. I don't think it has the support right now. Why did Rubio wear a Jewish hat when he's Catholic? It's a humiliation ritual. Can you do a video on Saudi Arabia involvement? I don't think I've done a dedicated video. I want to do a video on the Israeli art students. I wanted to do a video on Building 7, and people are going to be pissed if I do it, though. Canadian government could fall with budget. NDP party back to 14% in polls. Yeah, look at the Canadian GDP and compared to all the other Western countries, it's ridiculous. I've never seen a country lag so far behind Canada in terms of their economy. It's very bad. Yeah, Napier's going to have to be fired, 100%. Napier's going to have to be fired. You should do a video about the Waco OKC bombing with McVeigh. Yeah, I mean it's interesting. Rerun your election night stream one night soon. When you're down, you go rewatch NBC or 5 hours, CNN election night coverage. Yeah, no. The thing is it probably I could have done that like right after the election. Now I think people are just gonna be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Unless there's absolutely no news, because that's a 9 hour stream. Although I guess you could go to the important parts because there's like a, you could tell when there's a lot of viewers. Can you also do a video on the theories with the Charlie Kirk assassination? Well, listen, this is what I can say with the Charlie Kirk assassination. Ian Carroll. Okay, so think about Ian Carroll for a second. Ian Carroll puts out a tweet not even 24 hours after the murder saying, "We've reached a turning point." A turning point with U.S. Israel relations. Not even 24 hours. So a lot of this is, I'm first to the table. I thought of it. This is why it's happening. And then even with Ian Carroll, I was watching Ian Carroll's interview with Sneeko. A lot of what they're saying is just not true. Like in terms of the actual event itself. And I could go through and I could explain it. But they're like, well, I heard this and I heard that. It's just not true. Like these are rudimentary facts of what happened to Charlie Kirk. And it's just like, so a lot of it is just, they have a narrative. And I mean, even the Candace Owens stuff. Candace Owens gets 8 million views and then like 3 million views and then 2 million views. And like listening to Candace Owens, it's like, this is retarded. Like she's like, we want answers, but you just listen to it and it's like, well, the guy's been dead for a week. I mean, you're not gonna. Should Pam Bondi be fired? Can women be in power? Well, I think Pam Bondi is going to be the fall girl. Pam Bondi's been bad. If there's anyone within this cabinet that should go, it should be Pam Bondi. She's made several very bad statements. I don't know what Trump's going to do. Trump has this affinity with her. I don't know if it's because of her looks. I don't know what it is. So the trans roommate did know about it and they faked the convo. Well, yeah, and that's another thing. Now I see Alex Jones trying to get in on it. He's saying that, well, there's this entire network and that they're not telling you. But why would the Trump administration hide a fucking trans network or like where there's 6 or 7 people? Because, there's rumors that they said there's like 6 or 7 different trans people or people related to this trans group that said the day before on social media, oh, something's going to happen to Charlie Kirk. But it's like, how retarded are those people? They're just implicating themselves if they did that. So I don't know. But like also, why would the Trump administration hide that? That would only justify Trump to go after the trans issue more. Yeah, I know. No, I know you believe Candace. Yeah, that's the biggest lie of the night. Trump has an annoying soft spot for blonde. Yeah, dude. Like, and then Trump puts out this. If what I'm reading is correct, Trump put out a tweet and then deleted it. That he put out a tweet that was negative against Bondi, deleted it, and then put out a tweet praising her. So it's like, Candace at this point will be like Ben Shapiro. They were the hot stuff 10 years ago, but now they are just old men yelling at clouds meme. Yeah, I mean, well, Candace is doing very well compared to Shapiro. Shapiro, I would say, Shapiro's, it's kind of hard to tell. I think he's definitely lost some prominence. Israel's war with Palestine is definitely made people within the Republican movement sour on Shapiro. But Owens is very popular, very popular. Now we'll see what happens in the future, but it's like even these theories with with what happened to Kirk. I mean, it just seems it's like an opportunistic thing to do this. It's like, man, is there a lot of people in the chat tonight? Or holy shit, what happened to Jordan Peterson? I think he has drug problems, and the dynamic really shifted with what happened with kind of the younger internet. It was a lot of self improvement, a lot of women are the problem, and there still is that, but it's shifted a lot to it's an Israel issue with young people, and so he doesn't really fit the mold. Let's just say in terms of fighting against that. And so he's become more irrelevant. But I also think he has a health issue. The last time I saw he had some type of health issue. His daughter tweeted something the last time I saw. Your mom watches Candace Owens? That's actually crazy. That is crazy. It doesn't, I mean, my mom is really not political like that. She like watches Good Morning America and then I tell her stuff, but I don't even try and convince her of anything. She's like an independent. Do you think it was really Tyler Robinson? Well, everything that we've seen so far, I would say, yeah, it was definitely Tyler. But those aren't even the theories. The theories say, yeah, it was Tyler Robinson, but he was a patsy. Are you pro free healthcare or no? Well, I would like a model similar to Singapore and what they do with their healthcare. They've got very good healthcare. So I think in general, I mean, if the immigration is solved, there should be. Because listen, I'm getting healthcare now, and it is costly. There's no doubt about it. Um, the problem with free healthcare is you're going to get a lot worse quality. Like we have great quality of healthcare, and it's extremely quick, but the price of it, there's always a give and a take. So if you want to bring in free universal healthcare, the quality is significantly going to decrease in the healthcare that we get. Now you can always pay for better healthcare, but just in general. So I think the healthcare issue is, to me, it's the insurance companies are the biggest problem with healthcare. You have a conspiracy theory Trump wanted Matt Gaetz because he was the only one who had the balls to release the Epstein files, but they didn't allow Trump. Yeah, I don't think so, because Trump is treating the Epstein files in such a way that it's like he doesn't want them released. I think if Trump actually wanted them released, he wouldn't be treating the files like calling them a hoax every day, because it just makes him look bad. And some of it, I think he's just an out of touch boomer. He doesn't really realize it. But if he actually wanted the files released, why would he be handling it like this and saying it's all a hoax? It just makes him look terrible. So I don't think so, man. But the Matt Gaetz thing, I think he was never going to get confirmed. There was no chance. Hottest Congresswoman, Anna Paulina Luna, probably. Fuentes calling out low IQ conspiracies. Yeah, and he's getting shit for it. I mean, that's the thing. There's a lot of people within his own base that have now said that he has been bought by Israel. Erica Trump, or excuse me, Erica Kirk. Erica Kirk came out, or I don't know if it was like Alex Clark. You remember that girl? She came out and said she's doing some type of interview with Erica Kirk, where Erica Kirk is going to be discussing the rumor that Charlie Kirk was offered $150 million from Israel to keep shilling. And was Charlie Kirk possibly thinking about becoming Catholic? And so I think Erica Kirk is going to talk about that next week in an interview. So we'll see if that ends up happening. But if no matter what she says, it's gonna be, they're not gonna believe, people are not gonna believe it. I mean, this is just where with where the internet is. And I'm not saying people should believe. I'm just saying what's gonna happen. Epstein files are worthless anyways. It doesn't reveal who actually committed the crimes and just who went there on business trips. Waste of time. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone knows the actual detail. I mean, I know you're talking about like the flight log and the business meetings, things like that, but I don't know in terms of the files. The files could be very encompassing. We don't know exactly. But the other thing is like they would never really write evidence down that they committed these terrible things. Even why would they even track them on anything? Why wouldn't they destroy whatever they had? So I don't know. I think the Epstein files have become like a folk tale or a folklore at this point. I certainly don't think Trump is in them in any horrible way because they would have released that already. There might have been the thing with the Epstein files is they probably is a bunch of stuff on Epstein compiled into a data set, and so obviously Trump had a relationship with Epstein. So I mean, there's fucking photos of them. It wouldn't surprise me if there was a Trump Epstein file where they talked about their relationship. But that's just like, and then what does Trump do? Well, he releases it, and it turns out, oh, he's in the file, but I mean, it's like, to me, there's no way if because the other thing is you got to remember the context with Trump and Epstein. Trump brought up Epstein back in I want to say 15, before he was even the Republican nominee the first time. And he said Bill Clinton's going to have a lot of problems with Epstein and that island, with what's coming out. That was before Epstein was dead or anything, like 4 years before. I just don't see Trump being that stupid of a person. So Trump's committing these heinous acts and then trying to bring the Epstein saga into the spotlight. Like if you actually went to that island and you had done serious crimes, why would Trump be bringing it up unprovoked? It just makes no sense. Now, I think Trump has handled it terribly. I don't know why their administration is handling it so bad. Whatever it is, there's obviously probably people they're trying to protect. Maybe it's just a bunch of people and there's no actual evidence on any of them doing anything. They don't want the names to get out because then everyone will assume they're guilty. I mean, to me, it's a shit show. IDK, what makes people think after 4 years of Biden, the Epstein files weren't completely burned. It's Trump. So if you're Trump and you're going in, why wouldn't you just tell everyone? And this would be like the perfect thing to say anyways. The Democrats burned everything. They destroyed the evidence. Because then that implicates the Democrats into the Epstein files if they're the ones destroying evidence. So why would Trump, this is what Pam Bondi said, this is the problem. Pam Bondi said, we have the files. Okay, you have the files. What does that mean? You've got something, and then it turns out they've got nothing. So the administration, like, it is a crazy botchery. I've never seen something botched like this. I mean, this is, and it is what it is. It's bad communication. And it's just like the Howard Lutnick stuff. You're saying something that's just not the right policy. You're telling us something it's not true with the H-1Bs. Should Cash be fired? Well, I don't know. Cash seems like he's had some incompetent moments, yes, but you can't get rid of all these people in the cabinet. You got to get rid of someone. It's going to be Bondi. We'll see how Cash handles this investigation. But yes, Cash has had some incompetent moments. You can't say, well, the Epstein files with Bongino and that whole debacle. And then, although I don't know how much you want to blame that on Patel. I mean, there has to be a certain amount of blame. He's the fucking FBI director. And then, the botchery of the killer or trying to capture the assassin and saying you caught him on social media. I mean, that's, it's a very unprofessional thing. So, and the only reason they caught him, and look, nobody really knows in terms of how easy or hard it is to catch these people that do these crimes, and a lot of it is luck. Like if a civilian saw Robinson jump down from the fucking 10-foot tall roof with a bag which had the gun in it, they probably would have caught him in 5 minutes. So some of it is luck, but also, I mean, the only reason they caught him was because of the father. Otherwise, that kid, who knows? I mean, maybe they end up getting him because they had some type of his DNA or something, I heard. But I don't know if they have his DNA in the system. That's another thing I was reading. You can get DNA all you want, but if it's not in the system, it doesn't fucking matter. Now, I saw this kid at, Tyler Robinson. I saw the dash cam video of him in a car accident in 2022. He's got this weird lisp I don't know. It's like a fender bender or something. They found this footage of Tyler Robinson talking. Why doesn't Candace drop actual evidence? I'll say this about Candace. She did release a photo, supposedly, of Tyler Robinson about 6 hours after the assassination in a Dairy Queen. Now, people say that's fake. They've run it through all the AI models. It's not. I mean, who knows? Nobody really knows, but that's what they say. So I don't know if so that's the evidence. And she was also saying, well, the bullet didn't go through. And now Charlie Kirk's people are saying, yeah, the bullet didn't go through. And this is kind of strange. I mean, but look, I'm not gonna say anything, but they said the bullet didn't go through because Charlie Kirk had extremely dense bones and he was very healthy. You know, a bullet of that caliber would certainly make an exit wound, you would think, but I'm not gonna sit here and say anything about that. But they said, well, the bullet didn't go through. That's what Alex Jones is now saying. He's jumping on that and saying it doesn't add up. Well, I mean, I guess the bullet stayed in him. I don't know what to tell people. But you know, those people, they think he was shot from the back and it was an exit wound, which makes no sense. The exit wound would be a lot bigger. And how is he going to get shot from the back? What happened with those influencers who had the files? Remember that whole thing early this year when they gave them the files? Yeah, what they gave them was already declassified information. And so they just re-released it. And the influencers were libs of TikTok, like fucking Dino Dan or whatever the dude. Those are the people that got it. They hold up the binders, and obviously nothing happened to them. They're still part of the movement. I think they were invited there. They thought that they had big information, big, like it was this great victory for the administration. I mean, it's completely embarrassing for them. They know it. But those are all people that are, they've got their fucking accounts where they got millions of followers and whatever. And you know how it goes with that. I mean, a lot of those people, I'm not going to say that, but there are people that, they take money. They take money, they shill. I mean, we just had a situation a few months ago where, what was it, Diet Coke or something? It's like, oh, they're taking it off. You're not allowed to buy Diet Coke now with your food stamps. And then the Diet Coke, like Pepsi and fucking Coke, like, hey, we're going to pay influencers to try and get them to remove this. It's not fair. Because obviously the diet stuff is not good for you. The Diet Coke, the Diet Pepsi, it actually makes people more hungry because of the fake artificial sweeteners. It does make them more hungry. Armed queers of Salt Lake City are directly involved in the killing. Why aren't they talking about that? Also, the bullet hit his armor and went upward. Now that, listen, I'll be honest with you, that's not true. It was a direct hit to his neck. And you know what? You can see his nipples. It's very unlikely he was wearing any armor. If he was wearing an armor, remember there was an eyewitness. I think it was his pastor who said they were doing CPR and chest compressions in the SUV. I think he would make note if he had some type of chest protector or bulletproof protector. I don't think he had anything, man. I don't think he had anything. That theory is not correct. He got hit directly. And also you'd be able to tell easier if there was some type of protector and there was a ricochet or some type of deflection. Hit like, people, come on. Yeah, guys, like the stream. Go ahead, like the stream. The pastor said the doctor said he got one-shotted. Yeah, that eyewitness video was insane. Or I guess the reflecting on it when he talked about getting Kirk into the SUV. Yeah, no, again, I don't think there was anything. I don't think there was any chest protector on. Presidential Medal of Freedom for Dr. Ben Carson. He's awarding Kirk with one of those, I think. I guess I'm wrong about the armor then, but they still need to look into AQ, and then what is that? Salt Lake City. What a trans community in Salt Lake City you're talking about. I mean, the hope is that there has to be, there's going to have to be an investigation into how this happened and how this kid got this way, and a lot of it is probably support within these communities. Can government or people fix dating for Gen Z? The dating is a lot of the problem with dating is social media, unrealistic standards. That's what I would say. So women on social media, they develop these unrealistic standards, and also women are gonna they will immediately overvalue themselves the second they go into any dating app. So it creates these standards for them. The dating apps do, because they get courted by 100 matches. I mean, these are like average mids 5 or 6. These are like 5s. They get hundreds of matches. So now they've got this ego in terms of who they should date, and that becomes a problem. So I don't know about the government doing anything. It's a social media issue. It's an internet problem. It's a modern internet issue.
On the world stage, we're once again putting America first, and that's what we do. We put America, we'll help others, but we have to put America first. Exactly as George Washington would have wanted. He would have voted for us, George Washington. We had a man who rated me the #3 president of all time. He said only superseded by George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. And the host of the show said, "Oh, are you in trouble? Trump is going to be so angry at you when he hears that he's #3. But we'll take that." I don't know how many have done that. He actually said, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Donald J. Trump. I said, I like that guy very much.
Thank you for the donation. Their members are the ones that posted exactly what would happen on September 10th. Posted days and weeks ahead of time. Well, then that's a smoking gun. And if that is true and they're not looking into it, then that's a major issue. And I know I saw screenshots of maybe people posting before. If those get confirmed, then... But again, how stupid do you have to be to post about that? That's extremely incriminating. You're going to post on social media about any assassination or any major event that involves a killing? That seems very stupid. It just seems like something that would obviously get you caught after the fact when people investigate it. Michigan State USC just kicking off. LMAO. Dude, where's that video? Where is that? Have you guys seen this video?
I'm not going to sit up and be in my tears. I'm a whole veteran, baby. So at the end of the day, yeah, come on in the foxhole and get comfortable. I am about what it is.
Dude, I think Scott Jennings was trying to laugh and then had to hold it in.
I'm not going to sit up and be in my tears. I'm a whole veteran, baby. So at the end of the day, yeah, come on in the foxhole and get comfortable. I am about what it is.
How about the Indiana-Illinois game? Well, I mean, I think Illinois, they've been a fraud from the beginning. I said Indiana would win by 17 or 13. They'd cover. I think they won by 40. Is Miami going to win the Natty in their home stadium? Is that where the national title is? Miami Gardens? I don't know, man. We'll see with Miami. I don't buy Miami yet completely because of their history. Do a video on the AA line and the plans the Nazis had for the Eastern Front and Lebensraum. What living space in Eastern? Yeah, I mean that's Yeah, that would be an interesting video. Living space. Hitler's living space. If the NFL wasn't totally against Trump buying the Bills back almost 12, 14 years ago, do you think the Republican Party would have been in shambles in 2016? I think the party was headed in a bad direction for sure. I don't know if this kind of right wing turn would have happened anyways as a byproduct of the internet, but probably wouldn't have happened in 2016 without Trump. I mean, who would they have picked? Bush wouldn't have been picked even without Trump because he was just so bad. I don't think they would have picked him. Would have been like Cruz. Am I crazy, California? Where do you see Trump dealing with Antifa trans violence? Do you think there will be more copycats? Oh, you're in crazy California. Yeah, I think what has to happen is there has to be an investigation. There's going to have to be an investigation into wherever this kid got these beliefs and listen, with Antifa being we'll see if he's able to do it. They're saying you can't really label a domestic group a terrorist organization, but you can label them like a terror cell or a terror, I don't know, something like that. There's going to be some investigations into Antifa, and I think anytime they come out and they do something in terms of a demonstration where they're violent, there's going to have to be significant come down on them. They haven't been nearly as active recently from what I know with Antifa. Who's that lady? I don't even know who the lady is. I thought it was a funny clip. What if the Dems erased all the juicy files like Bill Clinton and the Trump administration had to deal with a bunch of documents that wouldn't satisfy the base, thus a fumble? Yeah, but why wouldn't... But there's ways to handle this where it doesn't include we're going to release everything. Because they're going to know what the documents are. So if you know what the documents are and you know they're negatively against your party, there's other ways to handle it rather than say, oh, we're going to release them anyways. Because they're not going to say we're going to release them if the Democrats deleted all the incriminating things against Democrats. Did you see what Van Jones said about Kirk? Yeah, I saw that. He had like a public spat with Kirk, and then Kirk said they should debate, and he didn't see it until after Kirk was killed, and I saw what Van Jones was saying about that. Antifa International and Rach. Yeah, but the thing with Antifa is they really don't have a centralized leadership. So it's more of you got to get rid of their funding networks more so than anything. Because these people are being funded in a way to be able to do these demonstrations. Better Ukrainian or Russian wife? Normally, they're both in very good shape, Ukrainians and Russians. Especially the women. Way too early, U.S. World Cup. They're not going to get out of a group. I don't like soccer. I mean, I'll watch that probably, though, because especially with it being in the United States, you got to watch it. They're not going to get out of a group. The U.S. men's national soccer team is not good. Trump pulled Taiwan aid. Good. They were so woke, just like Ukrainians. Crazy how much the Dems were able to indoctrinate these countries to... He pulled aid to Taiwan? In what sense? Because obviously they're in a precarious situation right now with China. Who's your Heisman favorite right now? It's hard to say. Maybe Jeremiah Smith. I mean, there's really no one. I mean, what, Carson Beck? There's no one really putting up great stats. You wouldn't want Trump running for a third term. FDR did so much better. Yeah, I mean, the problem is the age for Trump. And it's an issue. I mean, it's like, how do you get past that? The guy can't be 85 years old in the White House. It's just we gotta be honest about ourselves. 5 lightning delays in college football today. It's this weird thing that keeps happening. They probably changed the rule in terms of lightning strikes, and they said, well, if it's within 50 miles or some shit, we have to delay it. There's way too many delays. The game restarts, there's nobody there because people leave, and the atmosphere is terrible. I mean, I get having delays early in the season. It's probably going to happen next week as well. I mean, now it's in the South. It's the hurricanes and the East Coast. Congress authorized $1 billion. Biden spent $600 million and has $400 million left. Trump pulled it. Although sales are fine, just no more grants. $400 million. I mean, in the grand scheme of our governmental budget, $400 million. I mean, I guess it adds up. Who will be the 2026 Final Four for men's basketball? Bro, there's no way I could predict anything like that. That's impossible. Number one, now with the transfer portal, it's like a wash because all these players move, and plus predicting the Final Four is a miserable endeavor. Houston, I'll pick Houston, Kentucky, Michigan, Duke. What's another team that's good this coming year for college basketball? It's a stance issue, not a money issue. Yeah, I mean, I'd have to see what they're spending it on. Oh, God. Oh, man.
Maaga Egawa Jacob Fry. Doke Magalada, Minneapolis. Damaan.
AI? Is this him announcing defeat to the Somalians? President Trump will run 2028 and win. Come on, man. Do you support U.S. police or they have issues? In general, I support police. I mean, I think some cops have power trips, of course, but in general, of course, we want to fund the police and have a police presence, and we're not anarchists. Thoughts on Afghanistan military operation? I don't like that. If that is true, I'm not a fan of that. Could JD get a Reagan level sweep in hypothetical election against Sleepy Joe? Come on. There's no way they would run Biden. It's just not even. I mean, yeah, he could destroy Biden. Any Republican would destroy Biden. There's no way that with Biden's mental. I mean, he has serious health issues too. Doesn't even make sense. It's not even worth discussing. Yeah, AOC, you're right about if she lost 40 pounds. Have you seen her? Oh. You're surprised with how bad we left Afghanistan? Trump isn't going after the people that caused the debacle. It was a complete fiasco. It still doesn't really make sense how we left. Like, there's a way to do it, and it kind of feels straightforward. What's your honest thoughts on Myron Gaines? In general, I think I like Myron. I like the brutal honesty. The raw honesty I like. You're a full-blown Democrat if AOC loses 40 pounds. Well, I think she was. That's what she was like 5 years ago, I think. I know you hate SEC bias, but do you think Tennessee should be top 10? I don't know, man. Tennessee did not look too good today. I mean, I get it was garbage time, but allowing like 400 yards to UAB is, to me, that's a challenge right there, man. He's a grifter. Who, Myron Gaines? I mean, but doesn't everybody get accused of being a grifter? Doesn't literally everyone on the internet get accused of that? Freeway exit to Charlie Kirk Memorial already backed up 10 miles. Really? Do you guys know when the funeral service is? I mean, I'm sure I could find it and stuff, but I think it's like 1 o'clock, probably Pacific time. Who do you got, Georgia or Bama? I have to think about it. I mean, probably Georgia, though. Would California still vote Democrat? Yeah, I mean, they would vote Democrat. They'd vote Democrat no matter what. There's just not enough Republicans to offset it, even if it's a bad candidate. There's no way there's enough. I mean, that's just how it is now. Any Democratic candidate, I think, wins California at this point. Is Newsom a lock for the 2028 Democratic nomination? No, nobody's a lock right now. I mean, I think Vance is a lot more of a lock than Newsom. If you're talking about Vance for Republican nomination versus Newsom for the Democrat, I think Newsom is the favorite because they really don't have a leader within their party right now, and he's the most known name or known commodity that's in his political prime. They won't show an open casket. Yeah, there was an embalmer that was talking about the assassination and the embalming process, things like that, and she predicted that they wouldn't have an open casket. So, just wanted to say I love your content. Andy, I appreciate that. Do you think that Charlie would have ran for office if he had lived long enough? Most assuredly. I don't know about, president. He was 31, definitely Arizona, maybe Arizonan governor, senator of Arizona, something along those lines. I think a lot of it is him trying to battle the idea of being in Congress versus him actually being able to debate and have more of an impact as kind of a Swiss Army knife, for the Republican Party. So I think his own battle was, should I continue doing this or should I try and actually, because you can make a serious argument that he was causing even more of an impact. He was one of the big reasons Trump did so well with young people. You're not going to be able to have that impact if you're in Congress. Would you vote Vance over Myron Gaines in primary? I mean, come on, dude. Really? You want to vote Myron Gaines in an election? Come on. Come on, bro. Do you think it would be smart if the Republican Party, MAGA, started a movement to get Republicans from California to move to other states to solidify more red states? Dude, I mean, listen, this is the thing with California. There's a lot of rural areas in California that Republicans really like. I don't think they would move. I don't really think they'd move. There's Republicans that live in rural areas that don't have issues in California, and they love the fucking weather. San Diego, I think, is more conservative now. It's amazing weather. They're not going to want to move. They love the weather. It's a beautiful state. If they, a lot of them, if they would move if they wanted to. What do you think about USC, Michigan State? I don't know. I haven't seen it. I'd have to look. I think USC is probably going to win easily, but San Diego is not conservative. We have a gay Democrat mayor. Well, I think it's more conservative than a lot of the other major cities. That's what it is. It leans in terms of the comparison to like the crazy liberal cities. Should we increase climate change so that Californians will not have favorable weather anymore? Yeah, that's really, that makes sense. Inland California is deep red. That's where you've seen. Well, California has the most amount of Republicans of any state. It's just because the population is so large. But there is a lot of Republicans in California. There's no doubt about it. They're just drowned out by the amount of liberals in the major cities. Why do gingers not really date each other? Well, it's mainly because it's a rarity. There's a small percentage of the population that's ginger, so you're already dealing with a small number of women that are ginger, and then on top of that, being able to find one, it's just you're dealing with two small numbers. There's a small amount of men that are ginger. There's a small amount of women that are ginger, so they'd all have to like date each other for it to be noticeable. Otherwise, you're gonna say, well, they don't date each other. There's just not many. There's just not many. Favorite Alex Jones clip? Yours is him debating Pierce, but I'd have to think about that. There's a lot of Alex clips that are. I'm not prepared to answer that question. Better chance of turning red, your home state of Illinois or New York. I mean, probably Illinois. You probably know. I mean, Illinois is a significantly closer margin, but I don't know about either of them. It's going to be hard. The cities have so much the population density that they're very liberal. But maybe New York with Mondani. I mean, who knows? Who knows how that really affects the state? But I think it'll probably affect it in for the Democrats a negative way. I don't think it's going to work out well, and I think a lot of the establishment Democrats know it's not going to work out well. Seem like north of Sacramento is conservative. Yeah, well, I mean, it is all the inland areas, and also northern California tends to be more conservative. Difference between redheads and gingers. True gingers have freckles, green eyes, and orangey hair. Yeah, I mean, there's different shades for sure. You could certainly argue some people that try and claim it are not, I would say. What do you think of Myron Gaines' views on Israel? Well, I mean, I think he fucking hates Israel. I mean, I think a lot of it is some of it is warranted. I think some of it's over the top. I think some of it's audience capture. I guess it would depend on. But listen, the thing with Israel is a lot of it is undeniable in terms of the amount of influence they have. That's really why this whole craze is happening. Now they tend to take it a bit far on these certain things. I mean, I don't know if he's pushing the assassination and stuff like that being Israel, but do you respect FBI agents? I mean, I guess I respect them. See, it seems like, I mean, it depends if they're competent at their job. It's a hard job. Sarah, thank you for that. The only one that doesn't add a message. I've gotten a donation like 10 times now with no message. I appreciate it. 2024, Trump got 38.3% in California, basically 4/10. Yeah, but that's also a very pro-conservative environment. So you're getting 38% in an extremely pro-conservative environment. Now you could say, well, it's going to continue, but the idea is if that's with Trump winning the popular vote and everything like that. Maybe everything is changing and the Republican movement is going to continue. Obviously, Democrats are going to think they're going to do a lot better in 2028. Maybe we actually have turned a corner and Republicans are just going to take over the country with Vance winning every swing state and doing even better in terms of margins. I don't know what's going to happen. What's with Tom Homan accepting a bribe of $50K? I don't know about that. Anyone know about that? Tom Homan accepting a bribe? I never heard of that. How are your coins? The coins are doing the same thing that they've done for the past month. They're not doing anything. Now that you're supposedly in bed with BB, you can't say it was Mossad when your stream crashes. Yeah, we'll have to say it's wow, I got another donation. Saturn, thank you for that. It's like a Chinese a Chinese corgi? Not exactly sure what that animal is. Do you think a white man mixing with a Latina is fine? Look, people are, I'm not a big fan of the race mixing stuff, honestly, man. I mean, especially in this day and age, people. But I'm not gonna sit here and tell people not. People are gonna do what they're gonna do. Dems are saying that MSDNC reported. Hope it's a BS hoax. Tom Homan accepting a bribe of $50K. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look into that to see if that's substantiated or not. I mean, I think the border, they've done a pretty good job in securing the border. Getting enough people out, it's a challenge. I mean, that's the thing. It's a lose-lose. If you forcibly remove these people, there's going to be a bunch of Democrats pissed off. But if you don't remove enough, there's Republicans that are going to be pissed off. I mean, I think Trump has a mandate to remove a lot of them, but how do you get them out? The due process? I don't think they get due process. Trump now targeting hate speech. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I'll have to look up the Bondi quote exactly, but it's not good. Bondi is just, but I mean, who, Bondi is getting told to say this shit, I think, unless she's just really incompetent. Why does the Republican president care what Democrats think? Oh, Trump's always had that obsession. Dude, Trump, that's the thing with Trump. Like, if Jimmy Kimmel is saying shit about me, like, to me, it's irrelevant. I don't care, bro. But with Trump, he is obsessed with when people say bad stuff about him. That's just what Trump is. And he wants them to suffer and he wants them to. I mean, that's just how he's always been. I mean, he still talks about Rosie O'Donnell. Rosie O'Donnell is like completely irrelevant. The only way she's relevant is from Trump talking about her. What would you rate the Trump administration? 1 through 10? I'd have to give it about like a 6.5 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10. Do you remember the Bondi post in 2020 stating the Supreme Court would appoint Trump the election winner? Dude, that was such a fever dream that entire time. The time frame in between the 2020, dude, that was such a horrible election. Oh my, not even because Trump lost. Remember, it took 5 days to count. And then in 2024, they were saying that's the new normal. They were saying it's going to take 5 days to count now. And that's because of mail-in ballots. Oh, that's such a miserable way to do an election. Who do you like? Who do you like to listen to, watch for podcasts? I don't really listen to podcasts anymore. When I worked out and when I had AirPods in and stuff like that, I just listened to the Joe Rogan Experience. I listened to a World War II podcast. I don't remember what it was, but a lot of World War II stuff. World War II and Joe Rogan Experience were the two ones. And I used to listen to a fantasy football podcast when I was way younger. And like Mike and Mike in the Morning. That show's been off the air for like fucking 10 years. But I don't listen to anything anymore in my ears because it's just I'm not in a situation to be able to do it. What would Trump administration have to do to make it 10 of 10? Well, I think the deportations, I'd like to see a few million a year. I don't know if that's, I mean, it's probably not possible, but I'd like to see significantly more deportations. I'd like to see the Israel arrangement cut off, but it's not going to happen. You know, I'd like to see the United States disperse from the area, disperse from the funding apparatuses, and stop allowing these Muslims to, you know, they just keep blaming us because we fund Israel. It'd be great to leave, but it's just not going to happen under Trump. Take Greenland. Yeah, Greenland's a great one. Greenland is another thing that would really help it. The hate speech thing was another Pam Bondi fumble. It's just like not communicating properly, or so I don't know. But it's like, don't people look over what she's gonna say before she says it? She comes out and makes these statements, and they're all like, they're pre-written. Do you think Bitcoin will hit 200K by the end of the year? I think it's a challenge. There's a very low chance of it. I think it's a challenge this cycle. You know, I think Bitcoin's going to hit $1 million. I do, but it's probably not going to happen until the late 2030s. I think Bitcoin will hit $1 million, but probably in the late 2030s. You're going to the funeral tomorrow. You're not going to lie. Never been nervous to go to an event praying for everyone's safety. I heard the funeral is gonna be crazy. Hopefully, obviously, it's very peaceful, but just in terms of the amount of people there, the amount of people outside the Cardinal Stadium, and do you want Trump to make Canada the 51st state? No, it's not a good idea. Canada's very liberal. They would demand that they would want voting representation too. It's a bad path to go down. Now, if you're talking about provinces and territories, then you can sparse it and say, we'll take Alberta. But even that, it's like, you know, it's a path you probably want to avoid. I mean, I would like to take the territories because they're part of the Arctic, and you get the Northwest Passages, and you get a connection to Alaska. And they're very sparsely populated. Trump's never thought about that, though. He's talking about all of Canada. But it was always a troll. So. Is that seriously his perch right there? If there's one thing you've learned, that there's zero chance we can vote our way out of Israeli influence in our politics. Well, if both parties, you're not going to be able to. If there's two majority parties and both of the parties are infested with it, you're right, it's not going to happen unless there's a major change within one of the parties. Obviously, Trump is not that change. We can say what we want. We can say he brought us very far in terms of the shift in the culture. Thoughts on Stephen A. going for a presidential run? I don't think it'll go well, especially within the Democratic Party. They pick their people, and I think he might want it for the attention on the debates and try and get a few viral moments and things like that. But the Democrats, I don't think they would ever choose someone like Stephen A. Why does Trump like to troll with insane takes? Because Trump has had a tough time in certain situations. You know, there does seem to be maybe a little bit of a lack of leadership quality in certain situations with him. So I think that's what I would equate to him trolling and things like that. There does have to be professionalism at certain times, and it tends to be a challenge for him. But Trump is just, dude, Trump even telling that woman, quiet. I mean, he's just got so many memeable moments. It's amazing. Andrew, I appreciate it. Thank you for your stream. Can you go over the H-1B thing again? You live in a city and it's a problem. Traditional lower working income Democrats are not happy with it, by the way. That's what I think. I think it's a winner on both sides. I think the Democrats, a lot of the socialists like it as well. Because it's American workers getting disenfranchised. And honestly, in the name of capitalism, that is what it is. Well, they're curbing the H-1Bs. All the people that previously were on H-1Bs, and this is kind of why it's annoying in a sense, they're still fine. So it's not, but the new ones in the new lottery that happens this upcoming year, the employer has to pay $100K. It was previously $200. So they basically upped it like over times 100. The employer has to pay $100K for that person to be, if they're going to be hired as an H-1B worker. So it becomes they're trying to lower the incentive of these low skilled, because it wasn't supposed to be low skilled. It was supposed to be high skilled labor. That's what the H-1B is. They're trying to stop these companies from hiring like grunt work coders and things of that nature. These jobs should go to Americans. I think the H-1B should be completely scrapped because we do already have a visa system for extremely advanced people. It's called the O-1 visas. The H-1Bs, yes, you can say there's like, not every person is going to be extremely gifted that comes into the country. You need other people. With the immigration issue, I think it should be scrapped completely. But that's where there's a compromise where Silicon Valley is like, well, you can't do that. We're going to raise our prices. We can't pay these workers this much. They're going to have to raise their wages and their salaries for Americans to work. But I also think like, dude, it's like a lot of these people are already making 70 or 80K entry level or whatever. Like, really? We can't find Americans that can do these jobs. Seriously, has our economy outgrown our workforce in the like our native workforce? Superman movie was good, but we need a Boomerman movie. Destabilizes third world countries because they have secret kryptonite stored away. Yeah, maybe in Iran. Maybe they'd have to film that movie in Iran. At Fort O. Because you'd be in jail still gets me 9 years later. And just completely off the cuff, Hillary was in one of her monologues to where she had already pre-scripted what she was going to say. And then Trump, just off the cuff, because you'd be in jail. And then Hillary doesn't respond. Well, the crowd goes, that was 2016. I didn't even know Kamala was black, and a crowd full of black women was based. Oh my goodness, with this demands. Trump appears to call out Bondi for no action. Nothing is being done. We can't delay any longer. And then is this what he deleted? It's killing our reputation and credibility. That's not good for Bondi. Miami #1 most impressive considering opponents. Yeah, you could say you could say Miami. I mean, Florida. What are they now? 1-3. But I think Notre Dame's a good team, even though they're 1-2. And you could argue Miami #1 based on strength of schedule or opponents. Another reason to stop H-1Bs would be AI automation. Yeah, that's what I said in one of my video. There's going to be automation, so it's going to take some of the jobs, the grunt work jobs that were previously housed by the H-1B people.
A 64-year-old man named Hannibal Hernandez Santana has been arrested as the suspect in the shooting that led to an investigation here at ABC 10 in Sacramento along Broadway. And as the sun has risen this morning, you can see for yourself plywood over one of the windows in the lobby there. Now, earlier in the day on Friday, police were called here in response to shots fired from out.
That's a good, yeah. What do you think of the car crash body cam footage of Robinson? Sounds like he has some type of lisp or speaking thing. He seemed normal. But you're an OTR truck driver in the industry flooded with H-1B Indians. depressing pay for everyone. You think the industry had knowledge of the executive order rates and have shot up over the last month? The wages have shot up, you're saying? Well, there's some serious problems with Indian drivers. Just in terms of the way they drive in India, there's a complete disregard. A lot of these countries that are very low life quality and low living conditions, they don't really follow road laws at all. And so a lot of these Indians come over and they bring that driving. It's hard to get it out, because they're still going to drive like that to a degree. It's like a disregard. And a lot of it is just like they go whenever they feel like it. They don't pay attention to the stop signs. They don't, when the lights are red, they go. I mean, I've seen intersections on these videos of like roundabouts and it's a complete mess. But all these cars are like worth, $500. You look at all the cars they have. They've got all the little buggies. He seemed antisocial. They're trying to equate it to free speech. Yeah. Yeah, you remember that. You remember they said I got drafted. It's just stupid. It doesn't make any sense. People would say I got drafted to Iran. And then I was like, I'm going to Iran. I'm going to fight for Israel. I want to go fight for Israel. Why do we keep allowing these Indians here instead of them fixing their own country? Because it's very, very, it's a positive thing in a capitalist sense. For companies, they can exploit these Indians for cheap labor, and the Indians know their countries are not good, and so they want to come in, and because anyone would take that flight 100 times. Coming here on trying to fight for a green card on a temporary visa, you have to work your ass off in the country. It's like they're coming from a different world. Well, they are coming from like a third world environment, so it is like a literal different world. They're coming from a different world. The employers are going to love them because they've got the green card hanging over their head. You better not say anything bad. You better not talk out of line. You better not get arrested. You better not do anything other than work like fucking 60 hours a week. If you want this green card, if you want to stay in this country, the prosperity of it, that's the thing. These Western countries, there's prosperity. And then the other issue is, this is the big whammy. And this is the real reason this is happening. The birth rates are too low. The birth rates of Caucasians in the West are too low. We live in a capitalist society. Somebody has to do the work. We don't have enough people doing the work. So we pick the best or the good enough from the Eastern countries. Well, they're trying to equate this like freedom of speech thing. These people always have to be victims. They're always victims, no matter what. Charlie Kirk gets shot, it's on camera, they celebrate it. Now they're the victims. Now it's free speech thing. Dude, Jimmy Kimmel, it's like, I don't care if Jimmy Kimmel speaks 10 hours a day. Like, what does Jimmy Kimmel's effect really have on anyone? This whole idea that he's this martyr and they won't let him speak, and to me, it's just irrelevant. I think Jimmy Kimmel said something that the ABC didn't like, and that's what happened. Well, it's also the GDP thing. That's why most conservatives now don't give a fuck about the GDP. But it's like, what do you like? There's this whole thing where they'll say, well, you're going to lose to China. Lose in what sense? I don't even know what you're fucking talking about. Isn't our military budget still like triple what China's is, or double at least? I mean, if we have, what is China's military budget if ours is $1 trillion? They've got I think, significantly less military budget than us. So what are we really losing to China? I don't understand. There's all this talk about like less innovation. Well, how does China has less innovation by default because of their economic system. Van Jones clip. I mean, I've already seen it. He got, it's an interesting thing. If white women mix the least, why are you guys so worried about immigrants coming in? Most immigrants leave white women alone. Well, it's nothing to do with white women. Well, also, it's just a living. It's just. Why would we want our countries to become globalist hellholes? I mean, what are you talking about? Obviously, we're not. Obviously, we're going to want our countries to continue our cultures. It seems like a very, very simple answer. America isn't an economic zone. It's a country for Americans. Yeah, but they think everyone's an American. That's the problem. They've redefined what an American is. And it actually goes back to the 1500s or even 1492. And it's like, well, this is the Native Americans. This is stolen land, so anyone has a right to it. Well, every area in the world is stolen land. Just because I was born in a certain place doesn't mean I have a right to that land because I was born there. It's just not how it works. Third quarter GDP coming in at 3.2 Atlanta. Yeah, that's good. That's a good GDP reading, 3.2. It's conquered land. But no, like seriously, like the whole idea of it being conquered land, when the Western, or I guess the Europeans came to America, there was around, or came, let's just, because the thing is, America was named by a European person. It wasn't named by a Native American. So it's like all the entire culture, the country, the entirety of it is created by Western Europeans. There were 5 million people. So because there were 5 million people in total within North America, that gives them the right to all of North America because they had 5 million people within the entirety of it when we found it. Really? It's fucking ridiculous. But they have to use that because it's their whole theory. Well, you're being replaced because it wasn't yours to begin with. Rates of immigration too high, outpacing natural growth rate through native births. Well, yeah, the birth rate's problem. I will say the birth rate is above replacement with conservatives. Conservatives, it's 2.2. Liberals, it's 1.2. So it's insane how bad it is for liberals. But that's their, like, look at South Korea. South Korea is going extinct in the name of feminism. It's like, this is extincting your country. They're at 0.7. Their birth rate is 0.7. Someone told me in the chat. They're the founders. That it's like I think South Korea is the capital of feminism. Their country's going extinct because of feminism. Do you think India would be better off if it was still in the British Raj? Well, I mean, it would depend on the way in which they administered it, but it's hard to say because that level of colonization doesn't exist now. They don't own any real territories like that where you govern from afar. Yeah, that's another thing that people underestimate is the climate stuff. Women get really bought into that. They think they shouldn't have kids. That's a thing, and that is a crazy perspective to have. Like, if I have a child, the climate's going to be so bad they're not going to be able to live properly. Some of them do think that. I think that's gone away a little bit, though. It's gone down. the climate craziness was like 2014, 2015. I feel like it's not as big anymore. U.S. corporations are so greedy. They want to get so big that there's no competition. No birth rate increase would be enough. These companies have gone insanely big. Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Well, it's just the competitive nature of capitalism. They want as much work done for as little money as possible. As little expenditure for as much work. Little expenditure, as much work. That's basically what it is. All right, guys, I am going to end the stream right there. It's midnight, so I'm going to end the stream. But I appreciate everyone. I appreciate all the donations. Thank you, guys. It is a pretty busy night, honestly. Just with the chat. But the Charlie Kirk funeral is tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to go live. I don't really think there's much I can add in terms of these speeches. I think I'd just be watching the speeches the whole time. So I'm not sure I'm going to go live during the Charlie Kirk funeral. I think it's going to be around in the afternoon sometime. You didn't watch a single video? Well, I mean, it's a late night stream. I don't know. I mean, there's not. It's a weekend. Hopefully everything is safe. Yeah. Don't leave us, Daddy. Really? Seriously? Yeah, I watched a little. I actually did watch one video fully, that Trump video of him speaking. All right, guys, I'll see you.